Hello children, welcome to 9th Chemistry online classes. Today we will start the next important new chapter, that is chapter 3, Atoms and Molecules. Introduction of this chapter. Around 500 BC, ancient Indian and Greek philosophers wondered about the divisibility of matter. So we already studied what is matter and which are the states of matter, etc. Okay, so that ancient time, the Indian and Greek philosophers, they are not scientists, they are philosophers, they wondered about the divisibility of matter. See children, suppose you will get one sugar grain, sugar, a very small piece of sugar. When you start to cut that sugar piece or divide that sugar piece, and when you are cut, you will get one piece, again you cut that piece, again you cut, you are continuing, keep on going on that cutting. So finally what you will get, sometimes you will not think about it, okay, but around 500 BC, that time, that philosophers thought about it. That is the divisibility of matter. So first we see an Indian philosopher, Maharshi Kanad. He postulated that if we keep on dividing the matter, called as Padarth, so that matter, Padarth, we will get smaller and smaller particles. And soon we will achieve the smallest of particles, called as Paramanu, which may not divide further. So when we keep on divide the matter, the last we get one thing, that which may not divide further. So that thing, that is called Paramanu. Another Indian philosopher, Pagoda Katyayama, he postulated that there are various forms of matter because the particles of matter exist together in combinations. See, that time they thought like that. Okay, so different particles are there, that particles combine to form different matter. That is why different states of matters or forms of matters are formed. And some Greek philosophers, Democritus and Leucippus, they suggested that when we keep on dividing the matter, there comes a time when no more division of particles can take place. You got it children? So when we keep on dividing the matter, in particular stage we cannot go, we cannot divide. That such particles are called atoms, which means being invisible. So that is the new term, atom. So atom means we cannot divide further, or which means invisible. But all these ideas were not backed up by many experimental pieces of evidence until Anthony L. Lavoisier provided two laws of chemical combination. So that philosophers, Indian philosophers and Greek philosophers, they wondered the divisibility and they gave some explanations. They gave some explanations also, but that explanations they couldn't give the experimental proof because they are philosophers. But this Anthony L. Lavoisier, he is a scientist, chemist, so he did some experiments and he put forward some important laws in chemistry, two laws of chemical combination. So we will see that two laws. Now we see the important laws of chemical combination. So these two laws put forwarded by the scientist Anthony L. Lavoisier. And he had one assistant also, another scientist. His name is Joseph L. Proust. Now we see the first law of chemical combination. The first law of chemical combination is law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation. Conservation means protect. Okay, no gain, no loss. That is conservation. Law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation of mass state that mass can be neither be created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. So they put forward or they explained that in a chemical reaction, the mass of the reactants as well as the products same. So you know that a product is formed by the reaction of some reactants. Example, water, hydrogen react with oxygen. So hydrogen and oxygen are the reactants. They react to form the product water. So this scientist said that the reactants, the mass of the reactants, example hydrogen and oxygen, their mass together, that is same as the product mass, that is H2O. That is the law of conservation of mass. So it is very, very important. The first law of chemical combination is law of conservation of mass. It states that mass can neither be created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. Mass, we cannot make mass of a matter and we cannot destroy that also. Mass can neither be created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. You have to by heart this law. Now we see one example. So here two reactants are there. One is called Na2SO4 solution, that is sodium sulfate. Na means sodium. Sodium sulfate. SO4 is sulfate. Sodium sulfate. Na2SO4 sodium sulfate solution. So that is an in solution. We make it as solution. Actually sodium sulfate is a powder. We dissolve that is in water. So we get sodium sulfate solution. So this sodium sulfate solution, we take it in a conical beaker. This is the conical beaker. And another reactant, that is calcium chloride, Ca, calcium Cl2 chloride, calcium chloride solution. That is also in a liquid form solution. So these are the two reactants. So sodium sulfate is in the beaker and calcium chloride is in another small test tube, or we can call it as ignite tube, a small test tube. Separately, we take separately these two reactants. And this beaker here blocked with a cork. So in nothing will come inside and nothing will go outside also. Okay. And we take the mass of this setup. Okay, this conical flask contains sodium sulfate and the ignite tube contains calcium chloride. And what is the mass here? 300.23 gram. That is the mass of this one. After that, after taking the this mass, we just tilted this beaker. Don't open it, don't open this, just tilted. You can see here, just tilted means that here the reactant, that is calcium chloride, inside the ignition tube come outside and it is mixed with the sodium sulfate. Okay, so nothing is inside this small tube. So these two reactants react to form a product. Okay, now we take the mass of this one. So that time also we will get the same mass, that is 300.23 gram. But the things are different from the first case. Here calcium chloride and sodium sulfate separately, but here calcium sulfide, that is precipitated, or we will get some powdery like substance settled here, and sodium chloride solution also. Sodium chloride solution means salt water and one precipitate, that is calcium sulfate white precipitate, settled down. But in the both cases mass same before reaction and after reaction. Before reaction and after reaction mass is same, but here the products different. So here you can see the reaction CaCl2 plus Na2SO4. These two are the reactants. They react to form the product CaSO4, that is the white precipitate, and sodium chloride, that is the solution. Got it, children? Very important. The first law of conservation of mass with example. So here CaCl2 and sodium sulfate. Otherwise you can take another reactants also, like barium chloride and sodium sulfate, or copper sulfate and sodium carbonate, or lead nitrate and sodium chloride. Any reactants you can take, but before and after the mass is same. Mass can neither be created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. That is called law of conservation of mass. The second law of chemical combination is law of constant proportion or law of definite proportion. What is the statement of this law? We will see. Law of constant proportion or law of definite proportion state that the elements are always present in definite proportions by mass in a chemical substance. I'll read once again. Law of constant proportion or law of definite proportion state that the elements are always present in definite proportion. The elements are always present in definite proportions by mass in a chemical substance. The elements are always present in definite proportions by mass in a chemical substance. We will see one example. In the case of water, you know that water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen elements. Hydrogen element and oxygen element. So here Lavoisier noted that many compounds. So this water is a compound. So same like many compounds are formed of, or it is composed of two or more elements. So here water, H2O. So here two elements are there, hydrogen and oxygen. And their combination ratio is same in everywhere. If you are making water in India, the ratio is same, or in America, that is also same. If I made water, that ratio is same. If you made that water, that ratio is also same. Okay, that is the meaning of this law of constant proportion or law of definite proportion. The elements are here hydrogen and oxygen. The elements are always present in definite proportions by mass. This is important, by mass in a chemical substance. See, so first we see the chemical reaction of the formation of water. 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. So here 2H2. So how many hydrogen atoms are there here? 4 hydrogen atoms. Here 4 hydrogen atoms are there. And here 2 oxygen atoms also here. That is why 2H2 plus O2 gives two H2O, two molecules of water. We are I'm saying a new term, that is molecule. So that the same thing, atom and molecules, that you will learn more in the same lesson. Okay, so now you don't listen about it, just understand this thing. 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. See, so the mass of one hydrogen, or the atomic mass, okay, atom is very small. Okay, so the atomic mass is of hydrogen is 1. So here how many hydrogen are there? 4. So here one hydrogen having 1 mass, so 4 having 4 mass. Okay, the same way oxygen, one oxygen atom or one oxygen having 60, mass is 60. So here how many oxygen are there? 2 oxygen, so total 32. So that is 4 and 32. And when we calculate the ratio, we will get 1:8. 1:8. So in a compound water, the ratio of the mass of hydrogen to the mass of oxygen is always 1:8. Always 1:8. And if we decompose 9 gram of water, so 1:8 means total how much? 9 gram. So 9 gram of water, when we decompose 9 gram of water, we will get 1 gram hydrogen and 8 gram of oxygen. Got it, children? 1 gram of hydrogen and 8 gram of oxygen. So that law is called law of constant proportion or law of definite proportion. So law of constant proportion state that the elements are always present in definite proportions by mass in a chemical substance. Law of conservation of mass and law of constant proportions. These two are the laws of chemical combination put forward by Lavoisier. Okay, then John Dalton, the scientist or chemist, British chemist, he proposed an atomic theory which acted as an explanation of the above two laws. So two laws we already studied, that is law of constant proportion and law of conservation of mass. So basics of these two laws, John Dalton, he proposed an atomic theory. As per the theory, all matter, whether it is an element or a compound or a mixture. So you know that what is an element, example oxygen or hydrogen, like that. Compound means water, that is the combination of hydrogen and oxygen, that is the compound. And mixture means salt dissolved in water, salt solution, that is the mixture. So matter is anything, is it an element or a compound or a mixture? It consists of tiny invisible particles called atoms. So any matter, is it a compound or element or mixture, it is made up of tiny particles that are called atoms. The postulates of the atomic theory by John Dalton. So these 6 postulates are very important and you have to by heart these 6 points. But before by hearting, you have to understand the concept. Then only you can by heart it. Okay, so we will see one by one. The first point or the first postulate, the matter is made up of tiny particles called atoms that cannot be divided. Or all matter is made up of very tiny particles called atoms and which cannot be divided. Next point, atoms are never formed or destroyed during a chemical reaction. So that is the first law. Okay, we already told that the John Dalton prepared this atomic theory by the basis of that two laws. So that two law says that first law is what? Law of conservation of mass. That is, mass cannot be created nor destroyed. So here the second postulate of atomic theory is atoms are never formed or destroyed. Atoms are never formed or destroyed during a chemical reaction. Got it? And the third postulate is atoms of an element exhibit same nature. They have the same size, mass, and character. Example, oxygen atom. That is an element. Oxygen is an element. So that element is made up of oxygen atoms. Okay, that we will study later. Now you just understand our element is oxygen and that oxygen is made up of many atoms. Okay, so atoms of an element exhibit same nature. So that oxygen atom has same nature in anywhere. Okay, anywhere the oxygen atom has same nature. So that is the this line. Atoms of an element exhibit same nature. They have the same size, mass, and character. It will not change place to place or time to time. It will not change. The character or the size or the mass is same. Atoms of an element exhibit same nature. Fourth postulate, atoms of different elements exhibit variant nature. They do not have same characteristics. What is the meaning of this sentence or this postulate? Atoms of different elements exhibit variant nature or different nature. That means, example, oxygen and hydrogen. These two are different elements. Atoms of different elements. Oxygen and hydrogen are two different elements, and hydrogen shows its own characteristic and oxygen shows its own characteristics. Hydrogen shows its own characteristic and oxygen shows its own characteristic. That is the meaning of this sentence. Atoms of different elements exhibit variant or different nature. They do not have same characteristics. Oxygen and hydrogen have same character? No, they have different characteristics. Fifth postulate, atoms form compounds by combining in a ratio of whole numbers. Atoms form compounds. So hydrogen and oxygen, two different atoms, and they combine to form water compound. Okay, water is a compound, and they combining in a ratio of whole numbers. That is law of constant proportion, the ratio. Hydrogen and oxygen 1:8. So we get 9 gram of water in anywhere. That is the ratio. Okay, that is the fifth statement. Atoms form compounds by combining in a ratio of whole number. That is whole number only. Okay, 1 or 2, 3 like that, whole numbers. And sixth postulate, a compound contains a constant number and kinds of atom. A compound, water, example water, it contains a constant number and kinds of atom. Hydrogen and oxygen are the kinds of atom, and hydrogen 2H2, that is the number, and oxygen O2. So a constant number is there for the reaction. Okay, so these are the 6 postulate of atomic theory by John Dalton. Very important. Okay, this atomic theory and the postulates. So we'll read once again. First one, the matter is made up of tiny particles called atoms that cannot be divided. Second one, atoms are never formed or destroyed during a chemical reaction. Third one, atoms of an element exhibit same nature. They have the same size, mass, and character. Fourth point, atoms of different elements exhibit variant nature. They do not have same characteristics. Fifth one, atoms form compounds by combining in a ratio of whole numbers. And sixth point, a compound contains a constant number and kinds of atoms. So children, so today we took only a small portion. You can see that in your textbook only one page, 31 and 32. Okay, that 2 pages only. But that 2 pages, the matter is very important. Okay, nothing you can leave, because all each and every line is very important. So I'm suggesting to study the study chemistry. First you watch this video at least 3 times, at least 3 times. And if you are watching the video the same time, so no, that time don't open your textbook. Just okay, you can open, but no need to read it that time while watching. So watching the video, and the same time you can make the short note in a paper, any rough paper. Just hear the video and just write that keywords or the main points in each slide. Okay, and after watching the video at least 3 times, then go to textbook. And read that also. No need to read more things. Okay, only that 2 pages, and in this today's topic you have to by heart that laws, 2 laws you have to by heart, and that John Dalton's 6 postulates also. Okay, by heart it. And just to see some questions also given there in textbook questions. Okay, that also we will answer today, and some questions also I give. Try to find that answer. Try to find. You have many ways to find that answers. First you see the video, so you will get the answer, or you can read the textbook. That time also you will get the answer. Okay, and if you are not to get the answer that time, you can ask me. Okay, at any time you can ask the doubts. Okay children, so thank you, all the best.